Hey guys, and welcome to episode 6 of the Atlas podcast. Today I'm back with Victoria. I just got back from traveling for 10 days. So we missed 1 week of podcasting and Victoria was in Greece enjoying her time. So
Yeah.
we're going to get back into it now and try to get it done once a week. See some good questions from you guys that we're going to go over today. The first question I received from you guys that you're wondering about is, do I check my athletes' training and how do I go about that? What's the reason behind it and the benefits, etc. So I've been doing this for about 3 to 4 years now. Whenever an athlete joins my team, I'll check their training. So what that means is I'll send them a paragraph of basically what I'm expecting from them as far as training goes. And then I'll send them example videos that I took of Victoria training and a couple of the Olympians training just to show the athletes the intensity and form that I expect from them. And then I'll have athletes send me their next glute day, which means I'll have them record one set of every exercise that they do in the gym on that day. And then I'll do the same thing. Once I approve that, then they'll make them do shoulders and back, etc., until I really approve all of their form and intensity. So what I'm looking for is that the athlete has good form, which means that their range of motion is complete. So they're going all the way down, all the way up on every movement, getting a good stretch, getting a good contraction, and that they're really pushing themselves to failure, right? So I would say about over 50% of athletes that join my team don't know how to train properly to be able to get the most out of their training sessions. And what I mean is most of the time, the athletes don't really push themselves to failure. And the reason I started doing this and checking the trainings of the athletes is because I realized that a lot of them don't know how to train. And I think I'm the only team that does this. If I'm not, then I apologize. But I found that it's such a big factor for the reason why we make so many pros and have so much success is because I check the trainings of the athletes. So the reason I started doing this was because I was coaching some athletes and they just weren't progressing. I sent them the diet, sent them the training protocols, whatever they needed, and just weren't getting muscle or weren't losing fat properly and just not progressing in the right areas. And I had one of them send me a training videos. I was like, oh, this obviously why you're not growing. And this happened to 2, 3, 4. And then I just was like, you know what? I'm literally just going to check every athlete's training on my team. And I don't know why people don't do this just in general. Probably because it takes up a lot of time, right? To check videos of every athlete's training. It's not, the athlete needs to put in the work to get someone to video them in the gym. Then I got to go through every set. Nope, we got to redo this. Nope, the weight's not good here. No, I don't like your form here. It takes time back and forth for the athlete and the coach to do. But there's really a big payoff because if you're coaching an athlete and they don't know how to train, they can be dieting as much as you want. They can take whatever PDs you want. They're not going to be making the progress that you're expecting. So the biggest mistake I see athletes making is not pushing themselves to failure, which means that they're able to complete the last rep of every set. So typically I want athletes to be between 8 to 15 rep range. And what that means is that if you're able to do 15 reps and you can do more than that, you should increase the weight. And if you're able to do less than 8 reps, then you should reduce the weight. So this goes into another thing where people ask, how much weight should I use? That question should never be asked because it's completely useless and it's not even possible for someone to answer because they're not you. And you need to do trial and error. So exactly what I just said. If you can do 8 reps to 15, then you're in a good range. And what that means is you can't physically do the full contraction. It's literally impossible to do. Even if someone offered you $1 million, you shouldn't be able to complete the last rep. And that means you're going to failure. If you can do the full last rep, then you didn't fail. But let's say you can only do 6 reps of an exercise, you're going way too heavy and you need to reduce the weight so you can get into that range. That's a good protocol. If you're going over 15 reps, that's okay if you're doing half reps. So let's say you get up to 14 and you just can't lift the dumbbell anymore. You can't. So you just do half reps at the bottom, then you can go over 15. And I would consider that still in the 15 rep range. So that's how you really train to failure. And that's how you're going to get the results. If you're stimulating your muscle by really pushing it to failure, that's how you're going to grow. So if you're doing the same thing every week and you're not really pushing yourself and you're just doing what your body is able to handle, your body doesn't need to grow. It doesn't, because your body's able to already complete the task that you're giving it. But if you're pushing your body past its limits, it's going to realize, wow, I'm under a lot of pressure. I need to stimulate muscle growth. I need to promote muscle hypertrophy so that I can be able to accomplish this task and do this task easier next time. So if you're in this range here and you're pushing past over here, which is what you're able to, you're able to do this. If you're pushed past this every time just a little bit, your body's very smart. It's going to adapt to be able to do this easier next time. If you're always in this range and you're always doing, all right, I can do this last rep, I was able to do it pretty easy, and then do it again, 4 sets, okay, done. Your body's never going to grow because it could already do the job that you're giving it to do, right? If you're pushing past what you're able to do harder every time and you're forcing your body, you're going to be in a state of forcing your body to grow if you're pushing it past what it's comfortable doing. So that's why the training is so important. If you ask your grandma, what does bodybuilding entail? The first thing she's going to say is training. And the second thing she's going to say is diet. So why would everyone neglect checking their athletes' training when that's literally one of the most important things, if not the most important besides diet, right? So that's the reason why I do that with my athletes. And I think it's a huge reason for our success as a team. And I've had athletes join my team where they've been with the coach for 5 years and they're just like, I haven't grown. I don't understand. I've done everything said for 5 years. And I said, send me your training. They send me the training. It's terrible, right? Form sucks. They're going way too light. They're doing like lateral raises with 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds. I'm like, of course you're not growing. You're not even stimulating your muscle, right? You're doing for your 4 sets, whatever, 8 to 15 reps. You're not using enough weight. You're not pushing yourself at all in the gym. So your body's it's not going to grow. Your body wants to stay where it is. Your body doesn't want to change. You need to force it to change. You need to force your body to get you lean. You need to force your body to get you stronger. Your body's going to adapt on the load that you're putting it through. If you're just doing what you're able to do easily, your body doesn't want to change. It doesn't have to. So I check their training. I adjust their training. They're like, wow, I never trained this hard in my life. And then they start making progress. So what do you think about that, Victoria?
I agree. I think the fact that you just said, let's say you ask your grandma, what's bodybuilding? Everyone thinks about training, and it's so true. It's training is the base of everything, and if you don't train properly, you're never going to bring your body to be muscular enough to compete. So I think it's a good point that you're making here, and it's good that you're actually looking at every girl's form, every girl's intensity to make sure that they're on top of their training before even thinking about, okay, now diet, now supplement, now do this, now do that. It's the base of everything. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, if you don't have the training, you have nothing. And
Oh.
if you don't have the diet, you have nothing either. And that leads to another point. Let's say that a client says that they're following their diet perfectly, but they're not losing weight. I have them send me pictures of all the food and all the liquid that they consume in a day to make sure that they're actually following properly. You can give someone a plan, but if they're not following, it doesn't matter. So if we're at a point in prep where they're really not making progress and I don't understand what's going on, I'll have them send me pictures of all their foods. I don't know who else does that, but it's definitely sometimes I have them sending pictures. I'm like, why are you eating this? Oh, I thought this. And it's no, this is why we're not losing fat. So
Yeah.
sometimes you got to really see what the person's doing instead of just telling them what to do to make sure that they're fully understanding and following the program that you give them.
So you've been discovering that girls are actually not following what you've been sending them.
They make simple mistakes that they shouldn't be doing, right? But let's say I've seen everything. Like last year I had a client, I had her eating like chicken 3 times a day and tilapia 2 times a day, which was very close to a show. But she was changing everything for like lean ground beef. I don't know why she was doing that, but she was. And then we were 3 weeks out and I'm like, you have so much more fat in your diet than I gave you. So I thought protein was protein. Now we're not ready for the competition. So just things like that. Or sometimes they overdo on vegetables. Vegetables are not just free calories. They really add up, especially if you get to the 1,000-calorie range very close to a show and you really need to suffer. If you're eating tons of vegetables, you can add 400 or 500 calories of vegetables a day. And then you're just negating all your progress and the whole point of being in a super restricted state that you're just going to ruin the whole fat loss phase. And the people just, oh, vegetables are free. No, they're not. They're great for you, but you can really overdo it where you're screwing up the entire fat loss process, especially when you're that close to a show and you really need to, every calorie counts. So I think those are 2 very important points that people should really take the time to go over with each athlete. Yes, it takes a lot more time, but if you want to have quality throughout, you need to do these things or else you're just hoping the athlete knows what they're doing without. And I have some girls that recently, 2 girls joined my team and I have them some training videos. I'm like, you're an absolute beginner. Literally had no idea what glute exercises are, no idea what's going on. Form is screwed up. And I'm like, listen, you're very much a beginner. Maybe we should do lifestyle. Maybe we should have a different approach because it's just, and if you just give this girl the plan, she would literally have no idea what's going on. She had no idea what's going on. She's training like literally someone who went to the gym for their first time, but they don't disclose the information. So I checked the training, and after 4 or 5 times, I'm like, you got to resend your training. This is not good. Like, I had her send me like her glute day, and she sent me like 6 quad exercises, like leg extensions. I'm like, this is not for glutes. She's, oh, I thought glutes is all lower body. You know what I'm saying? So just like things like that, where it's like a very beginner type thing, where if you're not checking these girls' trainings, you can't just assume that everyone is as experienced as you. And all of us coaches, we've coached hundreds of girls, even in the thousands, and we know so much that we think everything is just so obvious. But if a girl, it's her first competition or even second or third, they don't know a lot of things. Most people don't even know how to read a nutritional label. And obviously everyone in the bodybuilding industry should, but like most people in the world do not know how. When it's so common and easy for us to do that, we just assume everyone does it.
People don't know what macros are. What's protein? I had a conversation with like friends that I have, and I asked them, what's a protein? And they had a hard time telling me what protein is. It's true that
We assume
that everyone knows, but
it's so easy for us to know. It does take more time to do, but it's definitely, there's a big payoff at the end. The quality is going to be a lot better.
yeah,
So
plus you have no choice to do that because it's all online too. You don't see almost any of your athletes except at shows, but you
yeah,
don't
but
see them in the gym.
every big coaching team is online. Every single
Yeah,
one.
yeah, but you
So
have no choice to do that, I think.
yeah, I definitely think there's a good payoff to doing that with your athletes, and that's a big part of why we succeed. I
Yeah.
mean, I would say literally maybe 15%, 20% max send me the videos, and I'm like, perfect form, perfect intensity, you know exactly what you're doing, perfect. That's a very low number. So that would be, if I wasn't checking, there'd be between 80 to 85% that are not doing the right things, which is a lot. And sometimes it's hard for people to really push themselves in the gym. They don't, oh, I have a little pump. Okay, I'm done. Okay, it's sore. I'm done. No, you need to really like, if you can complete the last rep of your set. So let's say you do 12 reps, and the last one you really just, you can't lift it, then do half reps, or do an isometric hold. Let's say you're doing like a hip thrust. Like you do 12 reps, and then you just can't lift it up. So you just hold the top and squeeze as hard as you can for the life of you for 10 seconds. You're gonna get a lot more of a burn, you're gonna get a lot more of a contraction, a lot more stimulus in your muscle. And it's hard to push yourself to that point.
Alone.
Alone. Like you do it, I see you do it, but that's something you learned how to do. And sometimes you need to really tell someone, no, you can do more. You can do more. You can do more. If you have someone over you, like, no, push 5 more. You can typically do 5 more, no matter how much you think that you're done with the rep or set.
100%. That's why I think it's important that everyone once in a while should get a trainer to actually push them to actually feel what pushing themselves feels like. Because when you're training yourself on your own in the gym, it's like everyday training, you're actually not, for sure, you're not killing yourself like a trainer would kill you. So I think it would be something.
Yeah, maybe like once a month or something.
100%. Get yourself a trainer to kill your workout, kill yourself in, I don't know, a glute workout or something, so you can actually feel what training to absolute failure feels like.
Just make sure it's a trainer that really, because not all trainers are good too.
No.
I've seen some clients send me videos and their trainers training them, and I'm like, you can push much more than this. Or the trainer's like a bodybuilder trainer and he just doesn't understand women really too much. Or there's like different type of trainers. But yeah, that could be a good thing to incorporate just to make sure that you're pushing yourself. So next question. Bikini versus wellness training / coaching. I think the biggest difference would be the PDs and the genetics. I think that goes without saying. You need the genetics in the lower body. It doesn't mean being fatter, it doesn't mean holding more body fat or having a type of physique. It just means that you gain a lot more muscle in your lower body naturally. So the difference between the upper body and bikini and wellness is not a big amount. A little bit more muscle in wellness than bikini, but not too much. So it really just, it's if you can really push yourself to grow your lower body that much, and you need the genetics, you can't force it. Like I have so many girls who are like, should I do bikini or wellness? And it's so often that it's 95% of the time they should be bikini, they shouldn't be doing wellness. And the difference between the two categories, a big difference is the genetics, but the drugs too. Like to be at that level, you need to take stuff. There's no natural wellness. The top level doesn't exist. You can't grow that much muscle naturally as a woman. It just does not. It's not possible. So
I think physically it's not even possible to look like that.
Naturally, no.
Naturally.
No. Not a top wellness girl. It's impossible. So that's the biggest difference. The training, obviously, you're at a certain point, you're taking a decent amount of PDs, you're going to grow pretty fast. And a lot of wellness girls don't even train upper body anymore because they would just grow too much. So a lot of wellness girls are just training the lower body just so that they can keep growing their quads, their glutes, their hamstrings, and just really bring out that asymmetry. You don't want to be symmetrical in wellness. You want to have a smaller upper body, a very large lower body. Now I think you're trying to mainstream the lower body to not to be too big and too muscular like Franciella, the one who won the Olympia. She has the perfect wellness shape, but some girls just don't look good in wellness if they're like that small. She's so aesthetic, but if you're not as aesthetic and you have a thicker waist and you're also small, you're not going to really fit the category. So a lot of it is genetics, honestly, the wellness.
That's true. When you compare her with like other girls that are competing, she's actually not that big, but it's just her proportion and her glutes
She's
that
so
are just,
aesthetic, yeah.
yeah, it's just
The
perfect.
waist is small, which is a really good V taper, and some girls don't have
Overall
that and they have a
look.
thicker waist. So if they're like as small as her, they're not going to look good. So it's a tough category, honestly, to
Because a lot of girls have bigger quads than glutes. She has bigger glutes than quads.
yeah,
If you look at her
well,
back
they're
shot,
pretty proportionate.
they're
Yeah.
proportion, but her glutes are huge, and she's not
Mhm.
pushing her hands on her thighs in her
Yeah.
back shot, which makes a huge difference. And I think that's why she's like the ideal. It's like a little Chris Bumstead,
Well,
but
it's like
for
very feminine and
wellness.
it's very, it looks almost like attainable. You know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually
But that's
true.
why there's only one of her. And there's no one else that looks like her right now.
And she's gonna win until she retires for sure.
Yeah, I believe, unless she comes off one year, but I doubt it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Next question. So, easiest and most difficult clients. I'll let you start. What do you think?
Easiest and most difficult
Difficult
client
clients.
to
What's the
coach.
difference? Yeah.
We spoke about that a little bit in the, I think, podcast 1 or podcast 2.
Yeah.
A hard client to coach would be someone who is not really open-minded, I would say. If you're used to a certain way with a different coach and you change coach and now it's totally different and you're like, you don't want to, you're not really open-minded to try new things, that can be hard to work with. Someone who actually doesn't do the work. Let's say I'm going to have a class with a girl and I give her the homework to practice her vacuums, her stretches, her posing. And then I see her a month later and we're back to square one because obviously she didn't do anything, any homework that I gave her. That just sucks. But it lost your time in your first class. It's losing my time because we're going back to square one. So that's actually something else
Yeah, you
too.
can't just practice posing in posing class. You got to do homework.
No.
It's like you go to school, you learn, and then you study at home, right? That's the whole thing.
Yeah, you have no choice because if you're not consistently practicing, you're never going to improve on your own. Besides, if you take classes every week or some girls book classes once, twice, 3 times a week, I have some in their prep that's fine. You're going to, for sure, you're going to keep progressing during your classes. But if you don't book very often and you want to improve, once a month is not going to make you improve at all if you don't practice on your own. So that's something that can be.
It's like stretching. If you stretch once a month, you're not going to get. If you train once a month, nothing's going to happen. You
And
need
even
to be
once a week,
consistent.
yeah.
You need to be consistent with every aspect of prep, posing, training, food. Whole bodybuilding is consistency for everything, right? And if you do it, if you're not consistent on anything, training, you're not consistent on training, you're not consistent on stretching, on dieting, on posing, that area is going to lack a lot. So
everything is going to lack. It all comes out together. If you just do one of the all these components, it's not going to work out. You have to do everything. So I think an hard athlete to coach would be someone who actually just doesn't do anything on their own, and you have to literally babysit them and tell them exactly what to do, how to do it, and repeat yourself 500 times for them to understand. That's just annoying.
There's some, what drives me nuts is I literally have to say the same thing every single check-in. I had one athlete backstage this weekend and I've been telling her the same 2 feedbacks for 6 months, every check-in. So it's lift your closed shoulder, turn your back knee profile. And we were backstage and she was about to go on free judging. I'm like, give me your phone. I go to a notepad and I write down, number 1, lift your closed shoulder in your front pose. Number 2, turn your knee and your foot profile. And I'm like, every single time you want to pose, open this notepad and read it. Because I'm like, if you're just, it's as if you're reading a book and you're just going through the words, but nothing's processing in your brain. Then you got to reread the page again.
Yeah.
But that's literally what it is. I say the information, it goes in your one out the other and just does it. And it's just, so say she'll fix it. And then 5 seconds later, she'll do the pose, exactly the same thing again. But that's not the only, there's so many like that. And it's just, there's not so many, but if you have to repeat the same thing over and over again, it means you're either not processing the information. And if you're not good at processing information, write things down, right? Like I have lists for everything. I have a good memory, but it's impossible for me to remember everything, especially if it's like trying to remember your whole diet or your whole workout or your whole everything off the top of your head. Maybe it's difficult for you. So write things down. If your coaches tell you the same posing feedback 2 times in a row, write it down on a piece of paper or on your phone and read it every time you want to do any posing. So it's going to build habits, right?
That's actually something that with the academy that I have now, a lot of girls are progressing very
Explain your
quickly.
posing academy.
Yeah, so the Posing Academy is basically two check-ins per week. You send me your pictures of your front pose, your back pose, video of your presentation, video of your front walk and your back walk. And I literally dissect everything that you do and I give you feedbacks on everything and everything is written down. So I think that's something that it is very beneficial for the girls because everything is written down. So when you practice on your own, you refer back to what I wrote to you and you can correct directly and like making sure that you remember because everything is written down. So that's something that I actually saw a big difference in all the girls that are doing the academy. They're progressing very quickly to the girls that are just booking classes just because they have more practice, more feedbacks, and everything is written down. So if you're not booking, you're not taking the academy, like James said, definitely write your notes down after a class or after a check-in with James or whatever. So you can be sure that every time you practice on your own, you can refer back to those notes and make sure that you follow the instructions and you don't forget like that girl in backstage. Like things like that, once or twice, it's fine. But if we have to repeat it every time you do your front pose, there's something that doesn't
There's
work.
stuff
And
that doesn't
that's
make sense.
on your
It's
end.
not a skill thing. It's not you can't
No.
do it because you can do it right after I fix you. But if you're just not remembering every time, you're not good at processing information. You're not writing things down. You need to process information to progress, right?
Yeah.
If you're just looking and your ears are closed, it's not gonna.
And that's something else too that I take my time in class to actually teach every single pose one at a time because I want to make sure that every girl understands the positions. So let's say the front pose. I'm not just gonna tell you do your front pose, perfect, next. No, no. I'm gonna place you from head to toes, and then I'm gonna explain you why you're doing this, why you position yourself that way, so you understand. And then it's easier for you to remember the positions you're in and practice on your own, you know? I think understanding every position and understand what you're doing makes it way easier to learn and to keep improving. But you need to do your due diligence on your end and keep practicing on your end too. It's not nothing comes with nothing.
Yeah, and just to mention, like Victoria offers two services. Basically, one is a posing class and one is the academy, and both together are great.
Mhm.
I wouldn't just do the academy without the posing classes. Maybe if you really can't find a time to do posing classes, then you can do the academy, but both together are great. Posing classes is she's half an hour classes with her on Zoom, and
Yeah.
academy is you send her check-ins, basically posing check-ins, so you can she'll correct you, go through your posing routine, poses, and give you notes, and so that you can have a little bit more practice with her.
Yeah.
And as far as the question of the easiest clients are just robots. They just follow what you do. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to train. They know how to diet. They're just robots, week to week, check in, just following the plan perfectly. Those are the ones that do the best.
And it's normal too that not everyone knows everything right from the bat, but our goal is to teach you to the best of our abilities everything that we know so that
You can follow.
Yes, exactly. So that once you understand and you get the training rolling, the meal plan rolling, the posing rolling, you can follow and learn on your own, fly on your
Exactly.
own.
It doesn't mean knowing everything from the start. It means once you
No.
know everything and you follow everything perfectly and you just do your check-ins, you just do the work. It's just being the clients are the best, are the consistent ones that just do. You just do. You don't have to this and that. And while I missed this, I have to miss this check-in. I couldn't pose this week. Well,
Yeah.
and then the ones that are just like we have so many of them are just like little robots. They just do. Maybe there's a hiccup here and there. Oh, I have a question for this. Oh, but those are the easiest ones that make the most progress. Gina Switsney, Bailey, like just those ones like that are just easiest. There's always the lighting is perfect in their check-ins all the time. They just
You don't have to
follow the
repeat
diet.
yourself.
Yeah, I don't have to. They fix the posing. Okay, this is fixed. All right, I'll do this. No problem. It's just quick and easy, and they make the most progress, and they do the best. So
Yeah.
and yeah, difficult clients. I would say we've covered this before, but just people that think they know their body so well and they don't have experience really getting in shape or winning or doing anything, and they think that they know more than you about coaching.
Mm.
And the ones that should just be coaching themselves and just never get anywhere, those are the ones that are the most difficult ones. Or the ones that just have so much potential, they just can't diet or they just make excuses for everything. And that's the worst as a coach, when someone has so much physical potential, they have the amazing structure, but their mental fortitude and just their ability to learn and their ability to follow and be consistent is just not there. I feel that happens more with male athletes than women. They have such great physiques, but they're just like not very smart and they just can't follow. It happens more men than women, honestly.
But I think these people should just not compete.
Yeah, but
Not
sometimes
for everyone.
they just want to, and sometimes they get carried with their genetics up until a certain point. But to get to the top, like the ones that are winning the Olympia at the top, like the men are, they're not dumb, they're smart,
Yeah.
because they could follow a plan, they have good genetics and everything.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be consistent and place really high all the time if you're just relying on genetics. At a certain point, someone's going to beat you because they have the same genetics as you or are similar and they're smarter than you and they can follow better. So you need both.
They're gonna put in the work.
That's funny. Next question. Coaching men versus women. Coaching men versus women. So I used to coach men. I made pros in male categories and it was great. My guys were great, but I just found that coaching women for me was just, I liked it more. I liked the bikini category more. Men, there's a lot of PDs and a guy will listen to, not all guys, but a lot will listen to their friend for PD protocol, their friend for training, their friend for this. Oh, my friend said this. Oh, he says that this drug is better than the other one. Oh, this guy says that I should peak on hamburgers instead of, it's fucking a nightmare. A girl will just listen to you typically and just follow your lead and not really. If you're a girl in the gym and you have a coach and some guy in the gym tells you, hey, you should do this for your hip thrust, you're probably going to ignore them and be like, I'm just listening to my coach. If you're a guy in the gym and some big bodybuilder is like, hey, do this instead, you might listen to them over your coach. So it's just annoying. And I'd rather people just follow one person. If you have too many cooks in the kitchen, where I've been in rooms at the Olympia, like top male bodybuilders, and their friends are peeking in for the show and the coach has literally no idea what the fuck is going on. Oh yeah, have the cookie. Oh yeah, have this vodka before stage. And the coach has no idea what the athlete's doing. And these are top Olympian men. Girls are not really doing this. It's rare. But guys always take advice from different people. Some guys, not all. And it just drives me fucking nuts. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. And a lot of girls, especially like maybe in general, but in bodybuilding, a lot of men from like 20 to 30 don't have that much money. So trying to get men with good genetics to pay you is very difficult because they're going to like try to find someone else to do it for free. And women, women have a lot of ways to pay for coaching, right? So it's like either the girl pays or her boyfriend pays or her husband pays or your parents pay. A guy, it's you're paying or no one's paying. And a lot of times they can't afford it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And it sucks when an athlete just has like such great genetics, but they can't afford coaching. And it's just, I feel that's a lot. So I was able to scale a lot more with coaching women. And another thing too, like a loyalty factor, like women are typically more loyal than men, I think, just in general. And I can make a bikini Olympian in, let's say, like 1 to 3 years, maybe if they have good genetics. Guy to be a top Olympian bodybuilder takes 10, 15 years. The chance that a guy's going to stay with you for 10, 15 years is very slim. They change coaches after they lose one show. Most of them, seriously. It's a fucking nightmare, even the Olympians. So girls would typically go through with shows, build a relationship, go through the process and become a better team with you. And guys typically will bounce back. Like, I swear to God, these amateur men, they change coach every single fucking show.
Yeah.
You can't build anything. And I don't like to waste my time. And the top bodybuilders in the world, like Phil Heath and Flex Lewis and all these guys, they stay with the same coach all the way through, typically. And a lot of the girls too at the top, they typically do. Maybe they'll change once or twice in their career, but most of the guys just change so much. It's every time we go to Canadian Nationals, the guys are on different teams every single time. They're never they're never with the same coach twice. It sucks. And I never really had that problem with me. My guys were very loyal to me, but just I saw a bigger scalability with coaching women and coaching specifically bikini and just really being focused on the one category that I can really show my strengths and put all my energy into bikini and I could really excel. Because I've said it before, but there's no coach that's the best at coaching bodybuilding and bikini, or you need to focus on really one thing. And I just found scalability, loyalty with the athletes, and guys are more annoying than girls, honestly, to coach. Like, they're more emotional, they doubt themselves, a lot of insecure. Girls are obviously typical. Girls have that, they can have those characteristics too, but I find that coaching girls just overall is just a lot easier and they're more compliant and they're more loyal and they could afford it more and just everything just made sense to me business wise. And I like coaching women. I like hiring women too. All my employees are women also. So I don't know.
But you're passionate even more about bikini than you love bodybuilding too, but you love
I follow the
bikini.
bodybuilding stuff too, but just coaching guys would just drive me fucking nuts, honestly. I had a 260 pound bodybuilder coaching once. He didn't bring any rice to the show, no food, nothing, just showed up. And he had to make a donation line for my girls. Everyone gave him like 100 grams of rice. It was because he just couldn't figure it out. And then the night before the show, he ate like pizza and brownies, didn't tell me. I'm just like, you know what? I think that was like my last straw. I was like, fuck this. And I think I'm just going to coach girls. I can't deal with this anymore. And I was coaching him for free too. So I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. So I think guys have a lot more of the time, have great genetics, and they don't have the mental state to be able to follow instructions perfectly.
With the drugs too, probably.
Yeah.
It's so much harder on guys than girls.
Maybe. It depends on their...
Guys take more drugs
Yeah,
than
they take
girls.
more, but their bodies are less... If a girl takes a tons of PDs, you can really ruin a girl. But if a guy takes a lot of PDs,
Yeah, but
they're probably going to be fine.
they're gonna be fine, maybe, but their testosterone can be there, their mood can be there,
I think it just depends a lot on the guy too. It's like alcohol, right? Like it can affect, like when I was taking drugs and bodybuilding a lot, I mean, I was pretty stable all the way through, like because I can control my emotions.
Yeah, but it's some guys in prep,
And go crazy. Yeah,
I guess,
girls
I don't
too, but
yeah.
anyways, girls rule and guys suck.
Girl power.
No, all my guys either were great, but it's
just not for
business
you.
wise, and for me, coaching women and focusing on women mainly are the best. I'll take a guy here and there rarely if it's like for a favor or I really like them or something. The only man I'm coaching right now is a 55-year-old men's physique. And do you even know about that or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's really good. And he's probably gonna turn pro in a few weeks, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, he's 55 years old. He's gonna follow me. He's not gonna do stupid shit. So I'll do it. Just as a little side project.
Side project.
Next question: breast implants in competition. There was no question. It was just breast implants in competition. What do you
Do
think?
it.
Well, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. I think it provides a very balanced physique, and we see a lot of Olympians with breast implants. There are some with no breast implants.
Lorelei doesn't have, but
Lorelei doesn't
it
have.
works on her. But I think it would still give her. She's such a long torso that having them would give her more balance. It would.
It would probably, but she already has breasts. It's not like if
Yeah,
she's
exactly,
flat.
yeah.
She already has
I think she's
boobs.
mentioned it when she was younger. She had like double D breasts or whatever. So
Exactly. So it's not like someone that's very flat. She still has a little something. So for sure, it would probably benefit her at the end of the day there to balance her physique even more.
she doesn't need it to win the Olympia.
No,
but,
she doesn't need it to win
but
the
she's
Olympia.
an anomaly. That's not normal.
It's not that it's not normal.
She would be the only Olympian to ever win without breast implants.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm.
Look,
No, that's
you'll
true.
never get feedback from a judge that, oh, you breast implants will help you. You'll never get it because it's just not in criteria.
No
but
one would say that.
it helps 99% of the time unless you get them too big. So like I've seen some girls that are short and they get way too big implants and it's like distorted your look. And the whole thing is about balance. So if you get them too big and then you're too big up top, then you look stupid. It could be nice for real life or for the stage. They want symmetry. But one thing though is don't get them to just compete. If you want, don't do that. If you want them for real life and they're competing on the side, great. But don't get it where it's once I'm done competing, I'm going to regret it. Absolutely don't get it.
No.
But 95% of the time or more, it's going to help you look more balanced. It just is. There's more. They want an S shape in bikini. That's the criteria. That's what even Tyler made a video about it. That's what they're looking for, the feminine shape. And without a doubt, whether you think it's true or not, it's going to help your physique. And it's not something you're going to hear people say, but all of us top coaches know it. It's not like a secret. Like it just looks better on the stage because there's more symmetry. And it just
Bikini is about balance from the top to the bottom.
big glutes and round legs and shoulders. And then there's just like a kind of an empty space there.
Or like your shoulders are like rolled in like this.
Mm-hmm.
Having a breast implant would just help you have a nicer posture and a nicer X frame, S frame in your front and I was going to say in your back pose, not in your back pose, in your front pose.
I've coached Jen Dory with and without breast implants. Go look at her pictures, the difference. We even compared when I was coaching her. It's a huge difference. Huge.
Yeah.
She had a long torso and it just really fills out her upper body to make it look more symmetrical. And on some girls, it really makes a huge difference. I see some athletes where it's like they get it, I'm like, holy crap. It's a huge difference.
Even amateurs. We had a lot of amateurs that did that in the last like year and
maybe I
their
can find some
shape
pictures to
changed.
post the podcast. I'll see.
Yeah,
I'll see.
post
I'll make a
some.
note, but
A big difference. It's not a necessity. Yes, you can turn pro without them.
yes, for sure.
100%.
But you're going to have easier time with them probably if they're done.
Probably because it's going to give you a nicer shape from the start.
And honestly, like this podcast, I'm not here to just like, let's beat around. No, like I'm going to tell you the truth of if you go ask all the other top coaches, or breast implants enhance my physique if you have a flat chest. They know it's yes. I talk to them too. It's an obvious thing, but you're never going to hear you should get breast implants to enhance your shape. You're never going to hear that, but sometimes it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be like, you need a little bit more fullness on the upper body. It could be like a thing of that, but a lot of people you're going to hear say, it's not part of the criteria. We don't look at that list. Of course, there's no criteria in bikini that says you need breast implants. It's true, but it says you need symmetry, right? It says you need balance, right? It says you need shape to your physique. And that's going to enhance all three of those things.
Yeah.
Whether it's in there or not. And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
But that's a decision that you should make for yourself, for your real life, and not just competition. Yeah. Especially, it helps for the girls like with wide shoulders. Like a tall and wide shoulders is very difficult to be like, have no implants. I have a client, Maxine. We just did a couple shows together. She came third at Toronto Pro and then second at Vancouver Pro. She's a pro. Obviously, she came second to Ashley in Vancouver. and she just got implants, and her shape is going to be a lot better. She's very tall, has a very long torso, has very wide clavicles. And I was like, she knew that she's missing. You could see it on the stage. She's missing something there. You could see it. And now that she has that, it's going to be a huge difference. So
It makes like the chest empty with nothing.
yeah,
It's
you
like,
can do padding and stuff too to make it better, but
yeah.
there's still something, you can see something missing on the full physique a lot of the time if an athlete doesn't have something there.
Once again, we're not saying get boobs. No, that's not the purpose.
Did you turn pro without implants? I think you did.
Yeah,
eh?
I did.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I never competed with
Implants, yeah.
boobs. No, but
Shit, you can turn pro without them.
yeah,
But it's going to
absolutely.
enhance, if it's going to enhance your shape 95% of the time if you do have them.
If you're wondering if it helps, yes.
Mhm.
Do you need to do it? No. That's it. You know?
I'm not going to name names, but there was like one pro recently that got implants. She's shorter and it actually looks worse with the implants, but she got them too big, I think, for her frame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I
I
think she
guess
looked,
it depends, eh?
yeah, but it's rare it happens. She maybe went a little bit too big, but don't, like, if you're like shorter and you're going over 600 cc's, then
Shorter 600 cc's.
yeah, then you got to be really careful. I'd say, I'm not going to give medical advice here, but I'm saying like when you start getting in that range, you're going a little bit risky, right?
Well, first of all,
It's
cc's
risky.
depend on every frame.
Yes, but I'm
Like,
saying generally, if you're 5'3" and 600 cc's, it doesn't matter what you say, it's going to be huge.
oh,
But
100%.
I'm just saying when you
For
start getting,
me, I'm going to say how much I have. 325.
that's very small for most people.
It's small, but it's the max I could have put inside. My
'cause you-
doctor told me I'm so short, I'm so small. The space was jacked. So I can't even put more than that.
But yeah, eventually if you want to go bigger, which you probably don't, but I'm saying then you loosen up the area and you get it like redone and go bigger. But
Probably, but I was
yeah.
so small when I did it. I was actually ending. It was like I started my off season 2 months after. Actually, yeah, 2 months before doing the surgery. So I think I was still very small, and my doctor
Mhm.
told me like that's the max I can put inside, and I'm super happy with the results, and I find it super natural. But if you go a little bit,
Most girls,
more?
I would say 90% of girls wish they went bigger though, honestly. 80 to 90%. I always hear, Dr. LeBlanc was like,
yeah,
they always say, I wish I went bigger. I wish I went bigger. Because
maybe one day I'm gonna say that when I'm gonna get older, my body's gonna change. It's possible. For now, I'm satisfied. I'm happy. I think they suit me. I makes my
it's
shape
typically,
looks.
they're going to look smaller than when you put them in like your bra kind of type thing.
Yeah, because if you have a bra, I can make them like you
No, but
can
I'm
push
saying when
them
you
up
do
and
like
everything.
when you do like the consultation and you put them in your
Yeah.
bra, it's usually the end result is smaller than what your like practice look is, I
Actually,
think.
me it was bigger because
Really?
at the consultation, the doctor told me that it was going to be 150 cc's. So I
What are you
left there
talking
and
about?
250 cc's. 250
No, I'm
cc's.
talking about the look. So when let's say you want 300, right? And you put it in, it's gonna look a certain size. But when you actually get them in, it's actually a little bit smaller than what it looks like under your shirt. I think usually.
Does it?
Yeah, usually.
I don't know. For me, it was different because the day of the surgery, because I was supposed to get 250 cc's, and the day of the surgery,
So
I was
small.
like,
That's
yeah.
so small.
I was like, I'm not really sure about the 250 cc's. I said, I did so many research and like
It's like
literally
nothing.
no one does that.
Yeah.
I said, can you just put the max you can while making sure that it still looks natural and it fits my body? My doctor was like, yeah, don't worry. And finally, after the surgery, he told me, oh, finally, you have 325
Yeah.
cc's.
If a girl like that's 5'4", 5'5" gets 325, though, it's gonna look very small.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
gonna
I'm
look very
5'1".
small.
It fits my
Yeah.
body, but a 5'4" or a 5'5", plus everyone is different. Hannah is small like me, but she has.
No, Hannah is 5'4", 5'3.5", 5'4", and she got 700.
Yeah,
But
it
she's
fits
not
her.
competing. Yeah,
No.
but it looks beautiful on her shape.
Yeah.
But she's not competing.
Yeah.
That would be way too big for competing. But she didn't plan to compete anymore. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
So go with a good doctor and don't try to save $2,000, $3,000. Do it properly with an amazing doctor. If you need one, message me. I'll help you find one.
We have the best
we have
here
one
in
here in
Montreal.
Montreal. I get no commission off him. I just like people who are very good at their job.
And he's the best.
He's the best. And I've had probably over 50 clients flying from California, from Miami, from Vancouver to come with him.
Everywhere.
He's the best. And every single one was happy. Hannah went with him. Victoria went with him. I get no commission. He's just so good. You're going to pay maybe a little bit more, but you're keeping things for 10, 20 years. Why would you save $1,000? I hate people that do that where they try to save
No.
like nickel and dime a surgeon. Are you crazy?
You can't cheap out on boobs.
You can't cheap out on like medical things.
No,
Like,
it's something inside of you.
yeah, and you
You're
want it to
like,
be good and you keep it for 10, 20 years. Is that really
100%.
that $2,000 worth that much to you that you want to have ugly tits for 20 years?
No, imagine you have a huge gap in between. That's
Yeah,
something
we see
that I
that so
hate.
often. Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's just bad. That's a bad surgeon.
that's a bad
If you have
surgeon.
a big gap, if the surgeon made a mistake, that should never happen.
Yeah, it's not because of how you are made or
No,
your
they're gonna bullshit
genetics or
you and
whatever.
say, "Oh, it's this." No, LeBlanc, he fixes all these bot surgeries. They
Mm,
never have separated all of his clients. None.
yeah.
There's people that are good at every job. Not every surgeon is good. Not every teacher is good. Not every coach is good. There's shitty surgeons. There's good surgeons, and don't cheap out on surgery.
Honestly, wherever you are, should come see our doctor.
Yeah, if
My
you're in
doctor,
North
he's
America,
oh
and
yeah.
plus and plus it's Canadian too, so you're spending like 35% less because of USD to Canada.
Personally, I had the best recovery ever. The day after my surgery,
Did your mom use him too or no?
no, because she did them years, years,
Okay.
years ago. But literally the day after my surgery, I did my own breakfast. My arms was up. I didn't need the need of having anyone around me. I started training lower body a week and a half
Yeah,
after.
but you're crazy. I don't know. He told you can?
Yeah, because I was completely fine. I did the bands and then machine light, started training, started doing cardio 2 weeks after, started training upper body 6 weeks after, obviously, because you
Mhm.
don't want to do anything. I
Follow your
think,
doctor's recommendation for
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff, but yeah.
absolutely. But that is to say that I was capable of doing all these things. I wasn't in bed dying. Like my recovery was super
Mhm.
smooth, no bruises, no pain, absolutely 0% pain.
That can be different. Yeah, but obviously people are gonna have pain in here or there.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
I
but your
had,
experience, yeah.
yeah, my experience was seriously top notch.
Like I said, I probably have 50 clients go to him,
Yeah,
and
a lot of people.
every single one of them is extremely happy. Every single one.
Mhm.
He's so professional. He used to be like an engineer, and he got bored, and now he's just a surgeon. And he says the next thing he's gonna be is an astronaut. He says he's gonna do all three. That was his goal as a kid, and I believe it. He probably will. He's the best.
I know when he told me he was bored being an engineer, and then you
And he's
just
bored being a
switch.
surgeon now, and he just like he's just an accomplisher, and he just likes
Yeah,
to do things and be the best at it, and then he just goes on to the next.
he's
He
great.
was an aerospace engineer, I think, and then he went to become a plastic surgeon, and now he's still
Wait,
going.
he's switching? No.
He talked to me about it. That he wants to maybe. He said he wants to do those three things, and he might. I don't know. We'll see.
Anyway,
Yeah,
come by before he switched
yeah,
jobs
he's really
because
good.
he's great. Yeah.
One more
Okay.
question, quick.
Yeah.
Someone said genetics at a top level as a pro. I think it's very simple. You have to have the beauty is going to help. Small waist, decently wide shoulders, good flexibility is something you can work on. The glute shape is so important. It's such a genetic thing. Like some girls just have wider set glutes versus, or like super long tie-ins, which is maybe too much, or super short tie-ins. Like it's tough. Go look at like Maureen, Jen, Laura Lee, Ashley, Amy, Phoebe, whatever. There's a bunch, but Jordan.
Isha.
Yeah, those are typically ones that have good glute genetics, round at the top, good shape tie-ins, not too high, not too low. That's going to be a huge factor of your bikini success. You can still get high in turn pro without amazing glute genetics, but you can't change the shape of your glutes. Yes, you can have rounder. Yes, you can have, but the lines are so important. And that's the whole thing too, like just lines overall. The length of your legs to your torso ratio. Some girls have very short legs. Like Hannah had short legs when she competed. It's very tough to pose and extend your back leg when you have short legs. Some girls have way too long of torsos. Some girls have way too long legs and short torsos. That hurts them. So it's all about symmetry in bikini, and a lot of it is genetics. And the girls at the top have the best genetics, and
The best symmetry.
yeah, the best symmetry and just the best glute shapes typically.
Yep.
That's the name of the game. Bodybuilding is the genetic sport. You need to put the consistency and everything in, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be genetics. Same with the guys. The top guys that win the Olympia, they have the best genetics. That's just the way it is. I can never be Miss Olympia if I trained for 200 years and took every drug in the world and was invincible, never died. Ever. It would never happen to ever be Miss Olympia.
No.
They don't have the genetics. So rude. What do you mean?
Never.
Okay.
No, but it's true though. You're just
Yeah, I know.
realistic.
Yeah.
You can play bowling, but forget about bodybuilding.
So she's fired after this podcast. Thank you guys for listening to podcast number 6. We're actually going to record podcast number 7 right now just to get it out for the following week. And I appreciate you guys. Once again, if you have any comments, questions, leave them below in the comments. I appreciate you following us and being interactive and giving me feedback so that we can get better at this. So hope you have a great day and see you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.